And again, we're going to do scouting. Just because that's going to be a relevant skill sometime in the future. Another easy day. So scouting went up and our carpentry went up, which is an engineering skill. Oh, while we're done with exams, not everyone else is. So apparently today was grammar. So let's see some high scores here. 96. Let's see if anyone beats him. Doesn't look like it. Okay, yeah. So Philip here did the best in grammar. You have gained creep. Damn. Let's see. It decreases chance of discovery and it expands stress. So we can lower our chance of discovery, but we take some stress because we're doing something. Probably because we're being called a creep, in all honesty. I mean, that's kind of a mean thing to say. Okay, so who was in that class? Prudence, and she scored a 29, which I don't think is that good of a score. But that's fine. It doesn't sound like it's a score that will get you detention. Oh, by the way, you can't, if you fail these tests, you'll get reprimanded. I forget if it's detention or if it's some kind of Sunday school thing, but yeah, we shouldn't have to worry about it because it's kind of hard to not. I mean, if you just focus on your school work, school skills and study levels, it's kind of hard to fail. Okay, so it's the weekend. How about we raise some skills? Maybe even our study levels for Saturday, and on Sunday we'll head off to that adventure. Or I can choose a random adventure. That could be fun. Ooh, if we work out at this gym, it'll bring up 3 random athletic subskills up by 1 skill step. So let's try that out and see how that works out. Because right now, yeah, we're pretty well-rounded. So if that boosts up wrestling and competition, that'll be nice. Study level, we'll do botany. Library of Longshade, we'll of course do scouting. And the gym is just random. Another easy day, so let's see what happened. So botany went up as study level. Scouting went up. Character study went up. And concentration went up slightly. So at the gym, we have learned about the gym's wrestling ring. So I guess that gives us a chance to just increase wrestling. Boxing ring, which gives us hit the ring, which expands competition, courage, tactics, and -1 vitality. And it'll also inform us of the athletics room and inform wrestling ring, which we already know. Okay, that's interesting. And what got raised was running, wrestling, and competition. But these things also need a second skill step to level up. So that sucks. Oh, and it seems that it was zoology's exams today. So let's just look for some high numbers. Seems like it was a hard class. Oh, wow. Okay, 62 might be the highest here. Oh, Snake Girl. Awesome. So what is she at? 62? Yeah, that looks like it's the highest one. Is she in a clique? Yeah, she's in the Serpentine Society. Of course she is. With Durand. Huh. Okay. Didn't really spot you as the snake kind of person, but whatever. Lambert was in zoology, got a 40. Anyone else in that class? No. They don't do anything interesting. Usually they do interesting things over the weekend. Did not succeed at study. Do some plotting. Okay. Evelyn succeeded at tried to solve the block puzzle. Okay. She studied and she studied. Prudence hung out inside the college on Prudence and Kurt. Okay. Get ready for grammar. And Melcresta did not succeed at getting ready. And he trained in ink compounds, which is a calligraphy skill. Interesting. Alright, it's Sunday. So what we'll do is, if we can study, we still will. And we'll set this to be a venture. And I have to find out what the venture is called now. Fun. So we'll do glamour. And again, we'll bring up... Oh, wrong one. Scouting, and that should be the last time doing scouting. Unless it requires more. The Hidden Magician, which is actually blue. Which now has me worried. Like, that's the rest of that, yeah? Yeah? Huh. I thought I remember looking up the venture thing, and I thought we were pretty good. But, hey, a blue is still pretty good, so let's just do it. If we fail, we fail. It's quiet in the center of town, so the raised voices carry across the street to where you are standing. You were seriously considering taking up the captain on his request to return and talk with him, but now you're not so sure. Standing outside the large ornate building that acts as the militia's headquarters, you can hear a deep, gravelly voice, sharp and irritated, and the more cultured voice of the captain, snapping militarily correct replies. He doesn't sound happy, even though you rather suspect neither of the men really intend for anyone else to eavesdrop on this particular conversation. You creep closer and lean against the cool stone of the wall. After the last adventure, you feel almost proprietary of the captain, if that's even possible, and you don't like the idea of anyone being rude to him. The deep voice begins rumbling again. Are you saying that you can't handle the pressure, Captain? A pause. You can picture the captain in your mind's eye, clenching his jaw and glaring murderously. I didn't say that, Signor. You hear him reply. Then exactly what is the problem? Security is your duty, is it not? Then I do not think it is completely unreasonable for me to expect you to start performing that duty. You draw a large enough salary for it. Footsteps clatter across the floor. That sounds like marble. A door closes. You hear the captain mutter something under his breath, and you duck back into the shadows. A few moments later, a tall, thin man with a dark beard and a face that reminds you not a little of a sharp-edged sword walks down the steps and moves towards a dark carriage. He walks with a quick step that makes the silk of his clothing rustle. You decide immediately that you don't like the rustle. It's a nasty kind of rustle. A bully's rustle. In fact, you're quite prepared to dislike the man intensely. The carriage rattles off with a clicking, clattering noise, and you wait until the back of its wheels have turned the corner before slipping up the steps and peering into the hollowed halls of the militia's headquarters. It's a lot more sparse than you would have expected. Men walk briskly around the main hall, obviously all busy and important in their gleaming uniforms and shiny black boots. A flight of stairs curves luxuriously up towards the ceiling, and you wonder for one mad second whether you can possibly slide down it. You shove the wicked thought aside and peer to your right. A desk that resembles a slab of wood is propped in one corner, with a man who has sergeant written over his face, snoozing quietly behind it. Past the desk is a large plain door with a very shiny handle. A door with a handle as shiny as that could only belong to a captain, so you slip silently past the desk and push the door open. It's a quiet room, plain and practical, exactly the kind of room a man with military background would choose for himself. There's one very large desk in the center of the room with papers all over it. An extremely ugly inkstand rises out of the papers with behemoth rising from the sea. It looks like a pottery exercise by a particularly short-sighted and talentless child. Several quills are stuck into it haphazardly, and ink is leaking out of a small green bottle and forming a black puddle at the edge of the desk. The captain himself is standing near the window. He is dressed in military blue, glistening with gold fringed and buttons. His hair is quite long, longer than the fashion, and you can see that he dares to wear his own hair without any adornment or wig. Perhaps a soldier can be expected to shun the fashions. He seems to be deep in thought. One hand claps tightly in the other, and his eyes staring fixedly out the window. However, as you close the door, he spins around quickly, his hands going to his sword. His reflexes are far faster than you would have ever guessed. He always looked so tired, so worn out. As he recognizes you, he relaxes. "Ah, my apologies, I was, distracted," he says. You offer to come back later, but he shakes his head and motions for you to sit down. "No, as it happens, your timing is most propitious. I am, I regret to say, in need of your help, once again." He grimaces and then smiles suddenly. "Not that I am doubtful of your prowess, my young friend. No, but I hesitate to ask for your aid so soon. We must stop meeting like this." His grin is infectious, and you grin back while assuring him that you'll be happy to help. In fact, you rather been hoping that he'd have some little task for you. This is a task for which you are certainly well suited. I'm looking down and noticing that my chances are both black. He sighs and sits down in his chair, reaching out and fiddling absently with his inkstand. "I have been requested," the word is twisted bitterly, "to locate Ilaro Dati. He is in town and is a threat to law and order. It is the duty of the militia to apprehend and restrain him." You notice the captain speaks in a sing-song tone, as though he is repeating some kind of lesson. The strange dark man must have been arguing with him about Ilaro. No doubt the captain doesn't like being ordered about in his own city as though he were no more than a peasant. Still, Ilaro Dati. He's a legend. The greatest rogue magician that ever lived. It is said that even the headmaster would be hard-pressed to face him in a duel. Of course, he's a little outside of the law, but he's still amazingly daring and dashing. You shake yourself and try to concentrate on what the captain is saying. Anyway, my men are ill-equipped to seek out a magic user like Dottie. If you would track down his hiding place, we could take it from there. He waits for you to nod and then adds sternly, "Just track him down, Rune. Don't try to tackle him yourself." You grin and nod. The two of you shake hands and the captain fills you in on the latest Ilaro sightings around the town. Then you're out of the headquarters and struggling with the problem of how to track down a superb magician who doesn't want to be found. Theory of astrology. Use your amazing astrology skills to locate him. Conversation. Does anyone know where he might be? And we have some other options down here that don't look so good. Bluff and pure luck. Let's try conversation. Let's see where that gets us. You ask around the market, sitting with the old men and pestering them for stories about the great Ilaro Dasi. After a few hours, you manage to garner 15 different and contradictory descriptions of Ilaro, several weird anecdotes about his upbringing, and 5 hilariously unlikely legends. Nothing helpful, though. Perhaps it's time to try something else. This is going badly. Hopefully if we fail, we can just continue. What would our conversation be under? Befriend? 6. That's kind of high, so that makes me worried. It's high-ish. It's above average. So, theory of astrology, which let's just even see what that's at. A 2. So, cool. It's the simple but obvious solution. You walk quickly to a small deserted alley and lean against a clear space of wall. Drawing out your wand, you cast the charm of fixing carefully, moving your wand slowly in the required pattern. It must be a strong cast, a perfect cast. First time, because very much doubt that Alaro Dottie will be pinpointed by anything less than the most carefully crafted magic. Then again, what are the chances that he would expect someone to cast the lesser charm of fixing on him? It's a simple astrology spell, one taught to beginning magicians. Hardly the kind of magic a daring rogue would expect to be used against him. As your themes finally form themselves into exactly the right pattern, and you release them with one last clean swoop of your wand, you heave a sigh of relief. You don't know when you've ever performed a better casting. And there it is. You can feel the place in your mind, a flash of cloth. Wham! A blocking spell slams up in front of you, and you reel backwards, feeling as though you just ran full tilt into a wall. Oh dear. Looks as though Ilaro was well prepared for that trick. After a few more abortive attempts that leave you with a splitting headache and stars dancing in front of your eyes, you give up and return to the captain's office. You glumly admit that you weren't able to locate the famous Alaro. He sighs and pats your shoulders. Never mind, Slugbed. It wasn't fair for me to expect you to do what so very few people have managed in the past. I suppose we'll have to do this the old-fashioned way. He picks up his sword belt and buckles it on. Raids. You hang around for a little while and watch the militia prepare themselves, but finally your headache gets too bad and you return to the Academagia. You know the captain's right, really far more experienced magicians than you have tried to track down the great Dottie before and failed. Still, you feel badly about it. That's not great. I'm going to double check and make sure that we can continue with the adventure.